Here we are the next morning in the kiln room, and I hear the fan still running. It's turned on there. It says completed. It's flashing completed, and 12:01. That's the firing time. 12 hours and 1 minute. So I will write that on the chart that the firing time was 12 hours and 1 minute, and so far so good. Okay, that's handy to mark that off. All right, we will push stop, and it will tell us the temperature inside the kiln. 70 degrees. It's completely cool in there. It's room temperature, so I do not have to prop it and let it cool. If I did, I would use this piece of fire brick, and I would put the lid up just a little, maybe 450, 450. You know, you could probably crank and vent it a little bit to help it cool down faster. No more than that, or it would could result in pots breaking. Now that's not necessary, so I'll put that over here. While I'm putting that over here, I'll show you some other stuff that's in the room. Okay, there's a drawer that has some things. There's a bead setter in there. There's a tile cutter, some old kiln furniture from the past that sometimes comes in very handy. There's a dusting brush for getting in those elements and brushing away. This is where I store the peephole plugs. They could go in there as well because I'm done with them, so I could pop those out of the holes. I might just leave those in there for the next firing. Beside that are stilts. If these items are then glaze fired, I don't have the students put any glaze on the bottom of the pots at all. They're dry-footed, and then they are also still put in stilts because it's elementary. There are variety sizes stilts. Little ones for little pots, big ones for big pots, etc. And two different types. These have the nichrome wires. They are the best, and they're kind of the most expensive, but they work great and they last for a long time until you drop them. Okay, they just hold that clay pot up off of the shelf. It protects the kiln shelves. I do not put kiln wash on the shelves. I keep them clean because kiln wash can also flake off and get in your glaze as it gets older. So I don't do that. The pots are dry-footed and they're stilted. There really is no reason to have a kiln wash on there, on these shelves. So these work great. Clay items that get set on there for if they're glaze fired. These are another type of stilt. These are very expensive. You buy them like by a bag of the pound or by 500 to a bag. The purpose of them is they hold up the clay pot as well, and then if the glaze flows and drips and sticks then these break away. These break away, and they're lost, but they're pennies compared to if you have glaze on the shelf and have to clean that off. So they're kept right in there as well. Hey, right there's the different shape shelf supports, different size for different size pots. There's a video on how to throw on the potter's wheel, and there's the kiln manual, which also has a video on how to operate this great kiln. We have a grinding wheel. This works super. It's a hand one. It's a hand crank. Maybe there is some glaze on the bottom of pots or a shard of sticking up of clay that you just know could cut a finger, particularly kindergartner, first graders, tender fingers and stuff. So you grind it off using that. That works really great. And it comes on and off, so you can put it on, you can take it off and store it. There's the kiln shelves and the clay tools. Those were at one time art bins for the tables, and then as they were really used, like well used, and now there's we dedicated those to only clay tools. We got clean ones for the drawing materials, and these are only clay tools. Instant ready for a table to do clay. 2 fettling knives, 2 rolling pins, just, you know, half a dozen or so sculpture sticks, whatever tools, patterns, whatever the kids say, you sit on the table and they're good to go. And there's the kiln shelves as well, upright, because they're going to be used. So let's open up this kiln. And we peek down inside. I'm going to turn the vent off now because it doesn't need to be vented anymore. It's completely cold. I do not need leather gloves. The temperature of the kiln, 70 degrees. And I take them out, and these babies look gorgeous, don't they? Okay. Let's get a few more of those out. They look great. These are ready to, actually they don't have to be glazed or painted, but there's two different ways the surfaces could be done. It could be painted with acrylic paint. That would be for ornamental things. Like if this was just going to be a pencil cup, you weren't going to wash it, you could paint it with bright acrylics. But if you want something to be totally functional, you want this to be able to be washed in a dishwasher or scrubbed, you want food inside it, then it has to be glass coated. And that would be 3 coats with a glaze. We have glazes. The school also has underglazes, and the teacher can present those as well to you. Thank you for watching. I think this is the final completion.